Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'm here today with Dr. Kim Duramo, who is a teacher and a mentor that I've worked with in my healing over the years and my growth over the years. She has a new program launching called Be the Medicine, and I thought that it might be really valuable for some of you to hear about. So I invited her here just to tell us a little bit about the medicine, and then I want to tell you why it's been so important to me. So Kim, why don't you just go for it?
Thanks. Yeah, I want to say hello to everybody. And, all of us, as we begin our own personal awakening to come into deeper truth, we're coming closer into unity consciousness, into knowing I'm not a separate being. I am one with all beings. I'm connected. And as a doctor and a physician, we're really taught that we're separate. I was in the emergency room for years and years, had more of a conventional medical training. And it really is about like the patient's separate from me and I've got to do this thing and help them. But that's not what's actually happening at all on any level. But as we come into our own personal awakening, it's really natural that we want to assist others, that we want to share this with others, that we want others to receive the same awakening. And it will come for a lot of us in a major transition in our work and the way we're doing what we're doing. Either for me, where I already was in a healing field as a doctor, but moving into something much more expansive and feeling like, whoa, this doesn't really have the space for what's emerging in me. How do I step into something bigger? Or for a lot of us, someone might be, I'm just a mom. I don't have a career. How do I step into something bigger? But you feel a calling. Or you're working as like an accountant and you feel a calling. And you're like, wait a minute. In the linear world, that looks like a new education and a new degree. But from unity, we can really give ourselves permission to start sharing that and start assisting others. So the program that I've created, and we've run it for, I think, 5 years now, is called Be the Medicine. And it's really based on this understanding that we are not separate, that we are connected, and that the greatest tool we have to assist others is our own body, our own frequency, our own personal, our integration. Am I functioning from love or am I functioning from fear? And that is exactly what the program brings, is a way to come into a higher connection with yourself, higher access to your power, which is what allows others to heal, and the clarity, higher clarity, because the more we're connected with ourselves, the more we have the awareness of like, whoa, I'm going to go and do this. And here's the next step. And here's what I need to know. And this is a program, to assist those who either are stepping into something more expansive, but maybe wanting to ground it and really anchor it in as a living and a way of receiving wealth and abundance as you contribute to others. Or starting out like, whoa, I just know I don't like what I'm doing and that there has to be something bigger for me. So connecting with through this work for the purpose of getting more clarity and stepping into what's the next step for you.
Is it always about, is the program focused on work, on profession?
It's not focused on profession per se. It's actually going to increase your personal frequency so that you are a light, so that you are powerful, so that you are making a change in everyone around you. Because, science has shown us that our body is electromagnetic. We have an effect immediately, a tangible, measurable effect on everyone around us. So whether it's your kids or your family or your loved ones, or if you're a practitioner, wherever you are, you're affecting everyone around you. So from that standpoint, it's something that can awaken a higher experience of vitality within yourself, a positive impact that awakens others. So your interactions are all much at a higher space of love and connection. And yes, if you are moving into expressing that in your work in a higher way, creating a business, expanding a business, it's also geared around that as well.
Right. Okay, that's a perfect segue into telling you my story, because it all fits together. My story in relation to Be the Medicine. So when I came to this program, which it's been a number of years, I actually couldn't quite figure it out, but it's been a number of years since I studied with you. And I was frustrated. I was coming from I had a 40-year history as a practitioner. and loving working with people and healing them. But, you know, when you say here a calling, I believe that everybody, all of us, have this highest potential that's calling us. And whenever we're not actually vibrating at the level of the highest potential, and that doesn't mean doing our best work or having the best habits, it means you. It means when you bring your resonance to vibrate with the fullest potential of you, then you are in the realm of your highest potential. And it calls all of us no matter what, unless we're in it. And then we develop within it, but we know it. It's a subtle click, but you know it when you're in your realm. You know it when you're in your zone, right? And so I was coming from a practitioner background and struggling with what felt like my profession. I was living in Seattle and I knew that I didn't want to stay there, but I had a 20-year developed practice, brick and mortar practice. I wanted to shift what I was doing hands-on into what I really loved about that. And that's where my shift into my highest potential, the subtle shift from taking hands-on healing into what really expresses me, which is actually shining the mirror for each person to their beauty, to their highest good, and holding a container for them that helps them see it and develop it, whatever that is, shining the mirror of their absolute potential to them, and then reveling in it with them and supporting them through practices, through actual daily practices, so they can keep coming back to it: breath, meditation, movement, sound practices, and then reminding again and again, this is where we live, this is where we live, there's potential. And the thing about Be the Medicine is, and you particularly, Kim, is I knew it, but I knew that was there, but I did not have it really resonating in me. There was a lot of doubt. Not that it was real, but I guess that I could resonate there. I could live at that level. You know, I was struggling and like climbing. I got to make these changes and they feel so heavy. How am I going to get myself out of Seattle back to California when I have this big brick and mortar practice? And how am I going to make enough money? And all this doubt was up there. And so being in your vibe that was so clear, no matter what, even when you were confronting either your own or other people in the program's problems and heaviness and density, you know, you just rise it up, you bring it up, you bring it up. And every call, it would be like, okay, we start in this density and then she does her thing, or like lift it up. So we're doing the same work from a little bit of a different point, because I kept seeing my own potential shined at me so that I could grab onto the ride and be like, oh yeah, okay. And then just practice lifting up, lifting up, lifting up in your vibration. And that really, at some point, I gained momentum, and you know, it started to really move and move. And then I started to I was able to make that move, and I got down to California, which had been, I didn't even realize how much easier it was going to be here, how the fit was for me in this time of my life was so right here. So as soon as I got here, things started to move in and momentum. And, you know, there's still some level of struggle at some point, sometimes, and it's part of the ebb and flow of life. There's still some doubt sometimes. There's still some judgments sometimes. But I think that program, the Be the Medicine program, set a foundation for me so that I could jump off. And that was the promise. I remember when we talked about it, it was like, let's get it in there so that you can have a platform to jump off of and remember and move into your greatest contribution to everyone. Mm-hmm. For me, it was work related, but that's life related. It's when my life, when we weave whatever we're doing in our day in with our real potential, our real life, our real expression, that's what highest potential, that's what alignment is.
Mm-hmm. You've very visibly stepped into a much higher frequency. Like, it's in your face, it's in your it just looking at you and hearing you speak, you're in a completely different consciousness than when we first met.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, it's that same thing. We understand that there's higher possibility or that I'm connected with everyone. But then unless we really step into it, we don't notice the fears, we don't notice the doubt, we don't meet the depth of what's there to let it transmute so that we can live this. And I loved how you shared about what's happened in your life, how things have come in effortlessly, your business has grown, there's clarity, like you're feeling more on purpose. I think the first piece is feeling that lightness of, oh, I'm no longer in struggle. I feel a sense of I'm in the abundance. And then the cherry on top is like all the stuff that happens that came in with growth. You know, you weren't working. I've got to do my marketing. Like you received it, you let it come in. And when we're functioning from a higher consciousness, that's exactly how life, I mean, that's always how life works. It's a reflection of us. But when we come to a higher space, so many things we've been trying to get, we realize we already are. And then life just reflects them and they come effortlessly.
And then there's the yes. Yes. And I feel that in my vibration. And it's like, the value, one of the biggest values in the program was seeing it in you and practicing raising it. And then it would drop. And I want to make sure that I say that because it's not, for me anyway, it's not just from like, oh, I'm down here and then, oh, I'm up here and I stay up here. It ebbs and flows in life. Now the game is, okay, now the game is letting it come in. You know, yes, there's still marketing to do. There's all kinds of content to create in my world. Always. And so now the game is letting it flow in without spending a lot of time stressing about that process, because that process takes some time. And I always think I should be doing something. And yet letting flow happen, the container has to get a little wide. You have to be a little wide with it. You know, you can't be contracted around it so much or it doesn't flow in so easily. So there's still marketing, there's still work. And it still sometimes feels dense. There's a density to the world and a lightness. And then, but what's gone is the fear that I can't have it. You know, the fear that I can't connect to it. The ownership of like, this is us. This is available right here. This is actually who we are. And if we keep returning to it and returning to it and returning to the heart of it, the essence of it, raising it up. And in my world, we do that by actually setting the foundation every day with, you know, like I said, with breath and meditation and movement. Like I have to actually do things to raise it up. That's available. And
well, there's lots of tools we share for those specifics, but I think when you talk about the density, it really is true that when we let go of engaging in that density, we receive more. So the mind thinks, I still got to do this marketing, I still got to do this thing. And the more you let those energies transmute, everything will come even more effortlessly. Because I know you shared like how much was created with like so far less work. And I want you to share to that a little, because I think it's really beautiful how the people who were a fit for your work came in, understood what you were doing. Like there was a lot of abundance there. But I do always find that when I let go of the density and I'm no longer willing to operate there, way, way more gets created. Yeah. Meaning like, you know, my mind will say, you got to do this. And it's never true that I need to operate in the density. I always can choose what's the lightest for me. And it's translated for me in like a lot less making a video or doing a partnership, like a lot less, but it's created way more because there's so much more power in what I am doing.
And probably more fun. Certainly.
Yeah. I mean, it's meant to be fun. If it's not, that's your body telling you like you're off track here, right. Listen to your wisdom. But will you share a little bit about those, like those specifics? Because I know it was scary to make a change. And like you said, where's the money going to come from? And what did you find the more you surrendered to that wisdom in you?
You know, I found two things. One is this deep kind of, I mean, it feels like I want to say this deep kind of smile, but like deep inside, this kind of like, you know what you're doing. This kind of like powerful, wise woman that's like, put that foot in front of the other until you make that change. You know what you're doing. Oh, you know, in the middle of what isn't logical, what doesn't look, what looks hard, what doesn't make sense, letting go of a 20-year practice into, you know, what looked like there isn't that established for me on the other side. When I got here, so there's a transition time. And then when I landed where I was landing, a whole new community opened up that was actually very similar to the last community that I was treating, because I was working in acupuncture and treating pain. So it was a little bit of a well, for me anyway, it was a little bit of an older community of people, the wise women, I call them, wise men and women. But I ended up landing in the middle of the desert, California desert, where people come to retire. So that community is actually around me. I didn't have to go out for it. I landed in the middle of it. And once I did, my skills that I had already developed were really useful and really not being done so much in the middle of this community. So like you said, you know, let go of the how. Let go of the, I have to do this. How am I going to figure this out? Take the leap over the gorge, knowing that you're going to land on the other side, and then just be amazed at where you land. Right.
Yeah. And that leap is just each moment choosing our yes, whether our yes is, yes, I'm going to relax a little more and let go of fear, or yes, I'm going to move in that direction and choose that thing. I know for me, a lot of times, like I've had to choose the yes of ease, even when the mind is like, no, you got to keep working. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I want to go and take a hike right now. And if I choose it, like always, so much more expansion happens. But it is like exercising a muscle, or like learning how to be bigger than the doubt that says, oh, no, you can't do that. Or the fear that says, well, it's, you know, everything's going to fall apart if I let go.
Yeah, right.
So
That whole program
really
says, well, for me, it says if I don't work hard, like there's a real family value of working hard in my world, you know, and with all due respect to all of those who have worked really hard before me and made my life easier, it doesn't work that well for me to work really hard, you know, to struggle in that work. It, like you said, it contracts my creativity. It contracts my ability to source my source, my connect. Yeah.
Well, so we have the program is open for people who do want to work with me and move through this process and be the medicine, which is to integrate this consciousness, to live from this foundation of this higher space of you, so that your world, your business, your work with others, assisting others, or just your work in the world is dramatically and exponentially enhanced. The program is at drkimd.com/BTM for Be the Medicine. And there's a free workshop this week at drkimd.com/workshop. And it will bring you into a much, much deeper integration of this with some tools and some exercises that we'll be doing just to begin to understand the power of you, the infinite power of you. Like you're sitting on a gold mine. You do not need to struggle. You do not need to be in lack. But how do you open that? It's a subtle thing to go so deep in yourself and let that abundance come through. And that's what we'll be doing in the workshop. So that's a free workshop at drkimd.com/workshop. And we'll begin this process of Be the Medicine. And then for those of you who do want to come into the program, it's drkimd.com/BTM. And you have a special link.
Yeah.
As well.
I'll post a link to both of them. Wherever where I post this, or I can post the link, which is everywhere. Yeah. Correct.
Well, thank you for this moment to be able to share this.
Yeah, it's great. And thank you for bringing this energy, this vibration to the world at this time. And for all of you for being part of, it's not like some of us are doing it and some of us aren't. We're all vibrating at a certain vibration. We're all making this journey to anybody who's listening to this is making a journey towards coming into alignment with your power, with who you are, so you can bring it forth on the earth. So all of you too, Kim. Thanks for everything.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here. So much love to everybody.
Yeah. All right.